Welcome to episode 6 of Flipping from 1 coin to 1 billion. To start this episode off, as promised, to the far left and right in the Grand Exchange window you can see the items that I wasn't able to reveal in the previous episode. Saradomin's Tear, used to upgrade Saradomin's Sword, and the Obsidian Cape R, which stands for Reversed. This cape is just a regular Obsidian Cape with the colors switched, only obtained from Master Clue Scrolls. I've been flipping these two items for a very long time, and they've probably been my most profitable items over all this time. Besides the Tear and Cape, I've continued to flip the Team Cape X and Armadillo Helmet a bit. Eventually, I decided to drop the Armadillo Helmet. I think it was a bit too popular of an item for me, with the big quantities being traded keeping the margins a bit tighter than my liking. So instead I decided to try my luck with the Team Cape Zero. I figured if the X one was working so well, what would make the Zero one any different? As it turns out, the C Cape worked really well, as did all the other items I was flipping. So I kept going with this setup, if you will, for quite a while. But eventually I started to get bored, and with the price of the cape seeming a bit more unstable lately, I decided after some time to ditch the capes and try some new stuff. So occult ornament kits, staves of the dead, and gilded boots, here we go. The staves were not flipping well, so off they went, and I continued with the kits and the boots. They were both doing alright for a bit, but the boots felt a bit subpar, with me not logging in to check on things very frequently and the price of them being a bit too unstable. I decided to switch them out. So I decided to opt for another gilded item, an entire armor set this time around. Apart from the fact that the gilded armor sets were slowly sinking in price and disrupting my flipping, as I wasn't logging in frequently enough to keep up with the decline of the price properly, they were doing alright. The Obsidian Capes, however, had been doing a bit worse recently, so I decided to try something else. Ranger's Tunics. These did not go according to plan, so Ring of Gods got their place. The rings were actually doing very well. After a while, I decided to swap out the gilded armor sets for something new as well. Eternal Gems. And then they crashed. A lot. Goodbye 30 million. So, being a bit pissed and salty at my catch of bad luck on that item, I flipped the table, threw everything out the window and, except the rings, tried a bunch of new stuff. This time around I decided to go for large amounts of resource items rather than expensive single items. Starting with Saradomin Brews, stamina potions of varying doses, tuna potatoes and manta rays. I switched things around a lot and tried a bunch of stuff. Some that weren't even turning a single percent of profit due to super tight margins, some that were flipping too slowly, and some that were too unstable. So in the end, I decided to stick with some of the potions that had been doing quite well. Turns out potions are a really good thing to flip when only logging in every now and then. Stable enough, yet fluctuant enough to allow for some low and high balling. For a good amount of time, this was what I flipped. Every few days or so I would log in, place some new buy and sell orders, and make a few mil. However, over the past few months, or many months even, I've slowly realized that I need to end this series. What started as a fun project has turned into little more than a chore. A chore that feels very unnecessary. I have no use of OSRS coins, I don't enjoy flipping anymore, at least not in this way, and neither do I want to be tied to the computer for flipping, having to always keep in mind that prices of items that I've bought may start to droop if I'm not keeping up with things. I won't continue this series for a long time, if ever. Probably never, but then again, you never know. I'll leave the account as is for now, indefinitely. This is the final episode of the flipping series. Just under 300 mil, if I would have stayed as consistent with this as I was in the beginning, the goal of 1 bill would have been reached within a year. Considering that the money making rate of flipping is exponential, the more money you have, the more money you make. Kinda like in real life, Yeah, quite really similarly to in real life. But anyways, we're probably about 65 to 70% or so of the way there, speaking in time spent flipping. In the beginning I was checking on the account and placing offers once a day for about 5 minutes or so, maybe 10 or 15 minutes if I was looking around for new items or something. Over the past year, that frequency has slowly dropped to less than once a week. Besides allowing for less profits, I also made some losses due to items that I had bought, as previously mentioned, drooping in price while I was not paying enough attention to things, allowing me to catch some fairly hefty losses. For this episode, I'm not going to add tags or anything for search engine optimization. I'm not going to share it on Reddit to bring in new viewers, nothing along those lines. If you're watching this, you're most likely one of the people who stuck along. I hope you've had some fun along the ride too, and I hope you're not too disappointed that neither of us will see that one single coin turned into 1 billion on this Grand Exchange only Iron Man money-making account of sorts. But it is what it is. It's time for some new adventures and some new content that I actually enjoy making. Thanks.